Tale of the tape between two of the most supremely conditioned prize fighters ever to enter the ring. And active all along. A height advantage of 2.5 inches for Oscar De La Hoya. An arm length advantage, however, of 2 inches measured from the armpit to the end of the fist for the shorter fighter, Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather choosing to come up only 3 pounds in weight from his welterweight appearances to 150. Oscar De La Hoya, who has fought in this neighborhood for many years now, right on the button at 154. No unofficial weights available on either of these two fighters tonight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Oscar De La Hoya Floyd Mayweather fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Given the overall stakes of the bout, De La Hoya's title belt in the 154-pound weight class is almost an incidental afterthought.
When you see them side by side or face to face, the difference isn't that great. But De La Hoya has been a welterweight or junior middleweight and has even fought at middleweight for 10 years. And Mayweather has just fought one legitimate, strong welterweight in his last fight.
And I think about a year ago, Floyd was fighting about 135 pounds, which is about 20 pounds lighter than the division that he's fighting in now.
And you're observing the last 20 or 30 seconds here of some gamesmanship as Floyd Mayweather takes his time long after the cue for him to be available to walk to the ring. He finally chooses to leave his dressing room, and instantly the crowd inside the arena sees on big screens that he has donned a Mexican sombrero and will apparently walk to the ring accompanied by Mexican music. This duplicates something that was done throughout his career by his uncle Roger, brother of that man, Floyd Mayweather Sr., who now watches inside the arena and laughs at the notion that his son is going to enter with a Mexican sombrero adorned in Mexican colors to face the Mexican-American fighter. And once again, throughout his career as a professional, Roger Mayweather, trainer of Floyd, called himself the Mexican assassin, and Emmanuel would enter this way as a psychological ploy.
Is he trying to win over the crowd or just taunting the crowd?
I think it's more he's taunting the crowd because he's not going to win over this crowd right here. I mean, this is strictly a strong crowd for Oscar, and even if the crowd was predominantly, I guess, no Mexicans even here, it would still be a strong Oscar crowd, I think.
Well, when Uncle Roger used to do it, it was certainly to taunt the crowd and inflame passions, and it was a way of being the black hat, a role which Floyd has cultivated for himself and has indeed visibly enjoyed en route to this fight. And hey, it worked really well for Roger Mayweather through much of his career until he ran into Julio Cesar Chavez, and of course the guy who ultimately derailed Chavez's preeminence as a Mexican icon was Oscar De La Hoya. And incidentally, according to those who understand how to wear sombreros, I'm being told that the hat is on backwards. And maybe that's intentional too.
Why should we be surprised?
And the music from 50 Cent.
He's an immodest man with much to be immodest about, but give him credit. Way back when he was fighting in the 130s,
might be the last thing he does, whether he wins or loses, at least in a prize fight ring. De La Hoya suddenly dispenses with throwing the jab. He should keep at it. That set up his offense in the first minute of this round. When he's not throwing his jab, he gives Mayweather the chance to measure and wait and figure out when he wants to land his lead left hook or right hand. When he is throwing the jab, Mayweather backs up and doesn't throw.
Oscar has a great jab. And actually, Mayweather doesn't have the jab. The really jab has always been Oscar. Mayweather has fast hands, but not that authoritative jab the way that Oscar has.
Oscar blocking a left-hand shot with his right glove.
Question is, will we get the drama we were hoping for in the second half of this fight?
Mayweather lands 2 right-hand shots over the top. Well, we're into the second half.
Right, and as Mayweather is more willing to stand and trade, maybe we will get some theatrics.
Good body shot by Mayweather. And he comes back to the body and hammers De La Hoya again. Big left hook upstairs by Mayweather. Now De La Hoya feels the need to rally and goes back to throwing the jab.
Stop! Watch your shoulder, watch your shoulder.
You just can't speed Floyd Mayweather up. You can't make him throw 60, 70 punches around. He fights in staccato bursts. He likes it that way. De La Hoya trying to pressure.
Well, if Floyd doesn't punch back, Oscar's going to win this round.
Accurate.
Very good.
We're downstairs with it.
Get on the body.
Go downstairs.
Okay, no problem.
Get a little closer to the motherfucker.
Okay.
Emmanuel, I don't think a fighter can depend on the other fighter getting tired at the end. What if he doesn't?
Well, if he doesn't, the way this is going, here's a good
Well,
chance that Oscar's going to win the fight.
Well, then, but he's got to fight like he's going to get
I
12 hard rounds from his
I
opponent.
think his opponent has told him that he's going to have to step it up a little bit. This is the last half. Oscar does seem to be a little fatigued, but he's still working. He's still throwing punches, and he's pushing the fight. Floyd is very accurate, as Jim said, but not
38 jabs, landed 11. He's got to keep being active with the jab to heighten his chances of winning the fight. Between rounds, Bernard Hopkins stood up from his seat near De La Hoya's corner and screamed, jab. Hopkins, of course, one of De La Hoya's business partners in Golden Boy, along with Shane Mosley, who sparred with him. Another De La Hoya flurry, and the crowd rises again. Once again, Oscar being more active, setting up the assault with the jab. Putting Mayweather on the defensive, Mayweather countering back accurately.
That's been his most effective punch tonight. Not his left hook, not his right hand, not a body punch. Oscar De La Hoya's left jab is his best punch when he uses it.
You got to take the chance that you're going to get clocked with a counter right. That's why Oscar sometimes pulls the jab and puts it back in the holster. But when he uses it, he puts Mayweather on the defensive. He's got to keep doing that. Mayweather with a hard right hand over the top. De La Hoya has stopped using the jab, and Floyd is picking his shots again.
No, but De La Hoya is picking them off because they're one shot at a time.
Well, that's the way Floyd fights, one shot at a time.
Well,
combinations are relatively rare.
Well, then that's something that Oscar is exploiting.
But actually, Floyd hasn't found a way to really penetrate Oscar with those solid punches. His main punch is springing left hook that he leaps at. Oscar's blocked that all night long for the most part.
No, it's when he counters that he does best.
The best, most authoritative punch between the two of them tonight has been the left jab of Oscar. That's been extremely effective when he throws it. Other than that, everything else has pretty much been deflected.
But he seems to have forgotten it since the beginning of this round. Now there's a jab.
in my view, Emmanuel, since I thought that Mayweather, who is almost a 2-to-1 favorite, was supposed to win this fight, given his youth, given his talent. That Oscar is doing very, very well to stay in the fight with him this long.
And then on top of that, look at it, maybe possibly pulling ahead on the scorecard.
Well, in this round, he's the more energetic fighter. And Mayweather's accuracy has receded a little bit in this round, as De La Hoya has done a pretty good job of picking off punches with his gloves.
And Floyd is having a problem of hitting Oscar with anything really clearly in the finish.
Mayweather looking for one more big counter shot.
Yeah,
Oscar looking for one definitive rally down the stretch of the round. They both got in a clean punch at the end.
Oscar's doing that every round, which is very smart. Close rounds, it can go either way. He flurries at the end of those rounds and is possibly still in those rounds.
I think you got an even fight. 4 rounds apiece.
Hey! Mother hitting on a fucking break anyway. You know, listen, all you gotta do when you get close to the rope, time up, keep up his ass in the middle range, just like you just did then. How you feel?
Waiting this guy, we need a little more movement going to him, right? Cut the ring off.
Yep.
Right? Don't let him go to his left, okay? Take. Right? Take him off.
You say at the end of the round, where Oscar De La Hoya is doing what he's been doing most of the rounds, is close, coming in, throwing punches. Whether they land clean or not is not that important, but he's roughing him up in addition to that. Elbows, everything. And he's probably winning these rounds by doing that.
You know, this is the perception is this is an even fight, close to it. Now the tension builds. Now perhaps the drama will build.
Well, and you wonder if Mayweather recognizes the danger of throwing 35 punches in a round where the opponent throws 68. I mean, Manny, your point is quite well taken. It doesn't much matter whether you're landing if you're throwing twice as much as the other guy.
And then actually Floyd is having a problem of hitting Oscar now. So he's throwing punches, but he has not found a way to penetrate.
I'll tell you what, the body punches have taken their toll. Maybe he didn't land them at a high rate, but Mayweather is defensive when Oscar goes to the body.
I think that Oscar's some kind of way figured out Floyd's rhythm is taking his punches away from him.
Big right hand over the top by Mayweather, but one punch at a time.
And Oscar sees it. He's half deflecting those shots. Floyd still cannot find a way to get clean punches together. He blocked that punch.
Good left hook, but partially blocked, as Manny pointed out.
Tell me something, Emmanuel. How does a fighter get to be considered a great fighter if he throws basically one punch at a time? Although this is maybe one of the best flurries he's had all night.
Well, it's not that difficult to be the greatest. I've never considered him great. He's considered a pound for pound, but the Ray Leonards and all of that stuff, comparing him and Ray Robinson, no. He's a good fighter.
Look, he's won all of his fights, and he's won 36 out of the 37 pretty unquestionably. So, you know, obviously, from a competitive standpoint, that's hard to argue with.
Yeah,
but this sport is also about theater.
It's about theater and the caliber guys that he fought to some degree.
Well,
but he's a very talented fighter.
Another De La Hoya rally against the rope, throwing and throwing. Mayweather grinning as if to say the crowd misinterprets all this, but the fact is he's being swamped by activity in those moments.
He's winning the fight because he's busy, and Floyd cannot hit Oscar. Oscar's defense is pretty good.
Hit him that time. Incidentally, CompuBox somewhat disagrees with us about accuracy, Manny. They had Floyd landing 20 of 35 in the last round. That's high accuracy.
This is a good moment here.
round in the fight so far. And perhaps a harbinger of what Mayweather's been saying all along, that De La Hoya would fade down the stretch and he would begin to dominate him in the late rounds. This is round 11. The most satisfying knockout victory of Oscar De La Hoya's career took place in the 11th round against Fernando Vargas. But it was Vargas who was tiring that night.
Yeah, and Vargas, but Floyd is a different fighter here.
Big time. Right hand pot shots for Mayweather. De La Hoya not jabbing, leaving himself open for Mayweather's opportunities. De La Hoya must jab and put Mayweather on the defensive. He has not been able to do it the last couple of rounds.
Oscar is getting tired, and not just physically, it seems like mentally he's becoming very drained now.
No, this is becoming like a sparring session for Mayweather, because if De La Hoya doesn't throw, he has no chance. Right hand lead that time by De La Hoya. Mayweather skipping away along the ropes, hammers Oscar with a right hand in the center of the ring. Hits him again. Hand speed difference more and more apparent. Mayweather beginning to operate like a surgeon.
Oscar's totally abandoned his left jab, which is his most effective punch he's had tonight.
Good body shot by De La Hoya.
Lots of punches, but nothing effective.
De La Hoya has been unable to land a big punch, and Mayweather doesn't punch hard enough to make a serious impact on De La Hoya.
Well,
so we have a boxing match which doesn't quite live up to the hope and the hype everyone had.
At the height of his reign as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, it didn't matter who Pernell Whitaker fought. You would pick him to win by unanimous decision. It was the logical choice. At the height of Roy Jones's reign as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, it didn't matter who he fought. You would pick him to win by unanimous decision. It was the logical choice. It didn't matter who Floyd Mayweather was fighting tonight. The logical choice was Mayweather by unanimous decision.
He tried a very smart fight. Now he threw a looping right hand at Oscar. He threw another loop. He'll throw the right hand between the gloves. He's keeping Oscar totally confused right now. I guess he's abandoned landing that left hook, which Oscar seems to block every time he throws. So he's now concentrating on hitting Oscar with right hands.
Hard right hand by De La Hoya. His most effective punch in 3 rounds. Crowd tries to root Oscar into position to take advantage, but it was too late.
Be interesting to see how that round will score.
You wonder how this fight looks
You got to close out like a champ.
from up in the balcony.
This round here, I've been 12 rounds. Listen, boxing shit out of us. Listen. This round.
Catch your breath, huh? Catch your breath. Nice and relax.
Nice relax.
Smart, huh? Smart.
Come out for the final round. Touch gloves when you come out.
Okay, Oscar.
Right? He
Come out
already,
for the final round. Touch gloves when you come out.
he already frustrated. Now go to work on his ass.
Here for you, son. Okay? He's gonna walk right into it. Put the jab hook right hand together for me, okay? All right, let's go to work now,
Good,
son.
solid minutes.
Come on. You're not even breathing heavy.
A CompuBox revelation between rounds as Floyd Mayweather cranked it up in the 11th, throwing many more punches than did Oscar De La Hoya. The pattern throughout the fight had been the opposite. Now De La Hoya knows he must go for the knockout in the 12th round. He landed a big right hand toward the end of the 11th. It probably wasn't enough to put Mayweather in any jeopardy.
Look out, look out.
A 12th round knockout, if it were to happen, would be the first of De La Hoya's career. Right now, Mayweather is once again who's landing clean punches. And once again, Mayweather throwing more as De La Hoya seems to search for the opportunity for one big punch. The jab was the key, and when Oscar stopped throwing it in around 8, the fight began to tilt in Mayweather's favor.
Yeah, Mayweather has no answer for Oscar's jab.
Step back. Here we go.
Almost impossible to hunt as elusive a fighter as Floyd Mayweather down with one big shot. The only chance for De La Hoya at this point, it would appear, would be to get another one of those big rallies against the ropes and somehow land the left hook. And we mentioned that a great defensive fighter like Mayweather could largely take away the money weapon like the left hook. De La Hoya hasn't landed one of those big, super clean left hooks upstairs all night long.
And neither have Floyd. Both of them best punches left hooks, believe it or not. But the main thing is Floyd needs to be fresher, thinking, punching crispier, seems to be more in control of his body and everything else, and that may impress the judges.
Just much faster hands. Yes. Much more command in the closing rounds.
But Oscar's fought a very determined fight regardless of what the outcome is.
This is an argument with fists, and the younger man appears to be winning the argument.
De La Hoya visibly determined not to go quietly into that good night. But fighting Floyd Mayweather is a dose of cold reality. This flurry will warm the hearts of De La Hoya's millions of fans. But the judges are watching the accurate clinical retaliation of a truly great fighter at the peak of his skills.
It's very likely that Cinco de Mayo is becoming Mayweather.
Was it one last hurrah for a giant pot of money? Or will De La Hoya make good on his promise to keep on fighting even after this? And where does Mayweather go from this pinnacle after claiming that he's going to retire? They fight to the finish and please the crowd.
A good fight, and by the reaction of the crowd, the dramatics at the end gave them what they came for.
A better fight than a lot of people anticipated, but with the likely outcome seemingly written in stone. And the crowd appreciates both. Oscar De La Hoya unloaded 82 punches in the 12th round, trying to find the one big shot. And incidentally, in the closing seconds, he finally landed that left hook, Manny.
Yeah.
A parting shot, as it were.
It was a good finish.
Mayweather 25 out of 54 in the 12th. His accuracy all night long was a mark of his greater hand speed, his youth, his fire, his ability to be the best fighter in the sport. Let's take a look at the three official judges, carefully chosen. Chuck Jumper, one of the veterans of the trade, 114 title fights. Easy card in Mayweather's win over Valdemir the night that Floyd won all 12 rounds. Sami Kazmarek from New Jersey brought in for this. Had Hasim Rahman even with James Toney in Atlantic City a year and a half ago. And Jerry Roth, who was also a judge on that night back in the late 1990s when Oscar De La Hoya squared off against Felix Trinidad, and who had Mayweather a winner by 4 points in his first fight with Jose Luis Castillo the night that some ringsiders thought that Floyd had actually lost. Millie De La Hoya can be proud of her man. Floyd Mayweather Sr. can be proud of his son and of the fighter he's trained for the last 7 years.
It was a very good fight. I was very impressed with both of the guys. They fought good. They fought to the best of their ability. But I tell you what, I know one thing. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has a lot more respect for Oscar after this fight here, because this is the roughest fight he's been in.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the scores and the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand, we go to the scorecards. Tommy Kazmarek scores the bout 115-113. De La Hoya. Chuck Jampus scores the bout 116-112. Mayweather. Jerry Roth scores the bout 115-113 to the winner by split decision. And new WBC Super Welterweight champion of the world, Pretty Boy, Floyd Mayweather.
Many in the crowd unaware apparently that it was De La Hoya's title which was at stake,
Yeah.
ready to celebrate when Michael Buffer said new, thinking that that meant their guy had won. But no, it was De La Hoya's title in this Mayweather's first trip to 154 pounds. And how about those scores, Emmanuel?
I think the scores you couldn't argue with. It was a competitive fight.
Nervous moments in the Mayweather corner, though, after the announcement of Tommy Kazmarek's score in favor of De La Hoya.
All RF mics are clear of the ring. That was bad.
Be nice if you... Celebrations throughout the ring. Mayweather's victory, and let's take a look at final CompuBox numbers. Mayweather landing 85 more and throwing 106 less, doubling De La Hoya's connect percentage. Quicker, more precise, more accurate. Power shots, a textbook display of accuracy from Mayweather. 138 out of 241. You simply cannot do it much better. And this on a night when De La Hoya, some of the time, was defending pretty well, blocking some shots with his gloves, ducking and slipping for a little while. De La Hoya 82 out of 341, throwing 100 more power punches as he searched and searched for the one big shot that might change things around. Larry Merchant stands by in the ring.
Thank you, Jim. Floyd, you seem agitated. What are you agitated about?
I'm not agitated. I'm having fun. You know, I'm happy. It was a hell of a fight. That's what the fans wanted. I told the fans they was going to get a good fight, so we gave them a good fight tonight. But first off, I got to thank God for this victory. My team, Mayweather, Al Haymon, Leonard Ellaby, we got the best team in the world, the best trainer in the world. It's Roger Mayweather, pound for pound. Come on over here, Roger.
Wait, only you were in the ring, though,
This is the
tonight,
best trainer
Floyd.
right here.
He whooped his ass, and I said whoop his ass long time.
Hey, if you look at the punch stats, we got Team Mayweather, and you know who leading the way at Team Mayweather? Roger Mayweather, baby. We did it tonight.
Was he better, more active than you thought he could be at his age?
Well, he threw a lot of punches, but they wasn't landing. He was throwing a lot of punches, they wasn't landing. If you check the punch stats, I outpunched him, I outboxed him. It was easy work, like I told you guys it was gonna be. He was rough, he was tough. He's supposed to fight. You know, 10-time world champion at 6 different weight classes. He proved himself, but he couldn't beat the best, Pretty Boy Floyd tonight.
So why was it a split decision? Do you think it was
Well, you gotta realize it was Golden Boy Promotions. You know how it is when we fighting against Golden Boy Promotions. Anything can happen. But you know, only the strong survive, and we did it tonight, man.
What did you do specifically to avoid getting hit
I just
by his left hook?
Oh, well, I seen the shots coming. You know, he only a punch we lock up to make it look like he was doing something. But like I said, I stayed on the outside all night, boxed and made him miss shots. That's what you call a masterpiece, a boxing. And he's, you know, he one of the best fighters in our era, and I showed you what I could do to one of the best fighters in our era.
You've been saying for months that this was going to be a massacre. Why wasn't it?
I mean, what the hell of a fight. We gave the fans what they wanted. The world awaited to see the Golden Boy versus the Pretty Boy, and that's what we gave him tonight. I owe thanks to my father. No matter what nobody say, he's a hell of a trainer. He's a great guy. Roger Mayweather, Team Mayweather. We did it tonight, man. It's just blessings from God, and God don't make mistakes.
You've said that you would retire after this fight.
Yeah.
Is that still your position?
Oh, yeah, I'm still retiring after this fight. I proved myself in the sport. 6-time world champion, 5 different weight classes. They said I couldn't do it. I weighed 150 yesterday, came into the fight today weighing 148, but we marked 150. And you seen the welterweight beat the junior middleweight today.
There are so many good potential opponents out there for you in the welterweight division. Cotto, Mosley, Williams, Margarito, and others. Why would you hang them up now when you're in your prime and you've won the biggest fight of your life?
Because I have nothing else to prove. I made a ton of money in this sport. These years are valuable to my children. I'm moving on to bigger and better things. I'm happy no matter what nobody say. God don't make mistakes. That's why I'm 6-time world champion in 5 different weight classes. I'm truly, truly blessed. And I didn't do it all by myself. I know I had a great team. Al Haymon, Leonard Ellaby, my father, Roger. Right. I give everybody credit who deserves credit.
He's going to retire after this victory. You really believe there's any chance he's walking away at the pinnacle of the sport after a victory like this?
You know, I told him that at the fighters meeting yesterday. No. I mean, he loves this limelight. He was born to be a fighter. He's just beginning. Now he's going to get the attention that he craves. I hope he cuts down on some of his cussing because he'd have to do that. He is a role model, whether he wants to face it or not. And just going to be a good champion. He had a rough fight tonight. I was impressed the way he held up.
All right, guys like Cotto and Williams are unbeaten. Everybody's going to want to see those fights. And maybe people are going to want to see Oscar De La Hoya again after tonight's battle. Let's take a look at what his plans might be as we go back to the ring and Larry Merchant.
Thanks again, Jim. Oscar, you made a terrific fight. Did you think you won it?
I felt I won. I felt I landed the hard punches, the crisper punches. Every time I would hit him, it would hurt him. And I was pressing the fight. So, I mean, you got to beat the champion decisively. And I was just pressed. If I didn't press a fight, there would be no fight.
So you thought that it was style as well as substance that should have given you the fight. But going into the late rounds, did you think you had to stop him?
No, as a champion, I wanted to stop him. And, you know, you owe it to the fans, you owe it to the crowd, you owe it to yourself to just push yourself more. So that's why I just try to close the show, you know, to give everybody the money's worth.
Emmanuel Stewart and others were wondering why you abandoned your jab at times, which, when you throw it well, was your most effective.
It wasn't the night of the jab. For some reason, I don't know, and every time I would throw it, it would snap his head back and I would hurt him. I could see his nose bleeding just with the jab alone. But for some reason, it's just one of those nights.
Do you feel, even though you're disappointed that you didn't get the decision, that you gave a very good account of yourself, better than a lot of people? Look into the future for us. Do you feel you performed well enough that there really is no reason you should retire from the point of view of your ability to fight, whatever the other factors are in your decision?
Well, yes, I gotta go back to the drawing board, watch the fight, and see how my movements were, see how my timing was, to see how my body feels. Just analyze the whole situation, and then I'll decide. But I mean, obviously, this is the game I love. This is the fight game that brought me here.
So the two things you said here about how much you love boxing, and you're going to go look at the tape, even though you know in your heart you fought a good fight, suggests that it ain't over yet.
Well, I mean, my suggestion is that we'll have to wait and see. I said that before the fight, win or lose, I have to analyze the whole situation. Then I'll decide. I'm going to be very smart about this.
Thanks for a terrific fight, Oscar.
I love boxing.
Thank you. And now to Floyd Jr. Sr., who was in the middle of all of this with his heart and with his head. How did you see the fight, Floyd?
Well, I'm just going to be honest with you, man. If you want to call fight by scoring, point system, I mean, by who throwing the more punches, you would have to give it to Oscar. But if you just going on a guy hitting a guy with single shots, then you have to give it to my son. I mean, my son he had good defense. I'm not saying a lot. He caught a lot of punches with his shoulder and his arm, but
so
it's still about punches. It's about people, a guy throwing punches.
So what you're saying here is that you felt that because Oscar was pressing the fight and throwing a lot of punches,
disappeared, and with it, De La Hoya's chances of winning. Why did he stop throwing his jab?
Well, the answer that he gave, he didn't know why. That's the wrong answer, especially when you're a veteran fighter like that. Once you find any little niche that's working for you, you're supposed to just work that to death. I think he just lost his focus on it. But he should have.
Floyd Mayweather's counter right hands.
No, Floyd never countered him over the jab. When Floyd threw the right hand, he would already Oscar would have his head up there. But the jab was working effectively. It moved Floyd out of position, which made it vulnerable. Made him, Oscar, to land the left hook. So I don't think there's no logic or no reason that he could come up for why he didn't throw the left jab more, except he just mentally got frustrated and didn't do it.
There are quite a number of fights in De La Hoya's career which leave lingering questions. That's the question which I think will linger in the wake of this one. Larry?
Well, first, let me ask you guys, do you think this was a good enough fight and a close enough fight for there to be a rematch?
I agree. I think there could conceivably be a rematch, and the public would want to see it just because it's Oscar De La Hoya. Manny, what do you think?
And also, it was two different systems. The one thing that Floyd Sr. did say, there's one system of just aggressiveness and throwing punches and effort that would have gave Oscar the fight. And then there's another system where judges look for just effective, clean, accurate punches. So it was really, you could have had two winners either way tonight, depending on who that other third judge was. So it definitely was a rematch. I would love to see it.
I don't see a ton of doubt over who won the fight, but I do think an argument can be made for a rematch.
Well, I think it was a very good fight, but not the kind of drama that could duplicate this event. And so I question whether it happens. I do think both fighters will continue to fight. Just one word about some of the build-up to the fight, in which a lot of people seemed discomfited that they were suddenly attracted to a big fight. And so the storyline they invented was, is this the last big fight in boxing? Is this the end in boxing? Can this revive boxing? None of which means anything. Boxing is what it is. This was a very good fight. We'll see a lot more. Whether we have this kind of crowd and the folks out there in those numbers, that is another story. But this was good boxing, good prize fighting, and a hell of a show.
Indeed. You know, one of the specificities in that question is, will boxing have to cede its place on the stage to other fighting forms like mixed martial arts? Mixed martial arts is entertaining. The kind of skill level you saw in the ring tonight, there's nothing in mixed martial arts which is within light years of what Mayweather and De La Hoya are able to do with their hands. James Brown?
All right, Jim, and let me coattail on that point as well, too. Again, from a boxing purist standpoint, I think it was a fighter's fight. You got what you were looking for in terms of boxing esoterics. But to the bigger question, there was a lot of pomp, a lot of hype about this. You brought a number of casual fans to the set who were tuned in. The question is, those casual fans, did they see enough drama tonight, enough excitement to stick with boxing, to come to boxing? Lennox Lewis first.
I believe so. You know, when you look at a fight and look at the strategy of each boxer, you know, Oscar had a strategy to go in there and apply the pressure and try and get Floyd out of his game. But, you know, he wasn't successful in that. I thought it was going to break down to stamina with Oscar. Oscar's stamina was great. I felt that Floyd was more accurate puncher. He threw some great punches. And he was very poised in there, very relaxed, and showed that he was very comfortable in there. But like I said, it was going to break down to the judging. That's why it was very important that Oscar got those early rounds in the bag, because it's going to affect the judging later on, and it did.
You underscored that as well. Max, I turn to you again. That sizable young demographic that came and tuned in tonight, those who were casual fans, was enough delivered tonight for them to stick?
I don't know. I hope so. I would liken this fight to a political candidate shoring up their base. Boxing fans will be happy with this fight. But a couple of points. First of all, I disagree with Jim. I think there are mixed martial artists who are operating on a very similar skill level in what they do to these fighters, and that's one of the reasons that sport's becoming very popular. Tommy Kazmarek, who scored the fight 115-113 for Oscar De La Hoya, I saw this as a dominant performance for Floyd Mayweather. The only consistent punch that Oscar De La Hoya landed in this fight was the jab when he used it. Oscar rarely landed body punches. Almost all of them were blocked. Almost every effective punch in the fight that was not a left jab was landed by Floyd. I think it was a virtuoso performance by Floyd Mayweather against a legitimately great fighter who still has a lot left in Oscar De La Hoya. I was very impressed. And in terms of Kazmarek's score, you know, it's okay for casual fans sitting way up here, hard to tell what's going on, to be impressed with De La Hoya throwing punches in bunches. It's not okay for a professional judge, and I don't care what side of the ring he's on, to score that fight for Oscar De La Hoya. 9 rounds to 3 Floyd. You can say 8-4, even 7-5 Floyd, you start to have a problem with me.
A politician shoring up his base. Let me tell you something. You two would do well on the same ticket, no question about it.
Long as we're not in the same ring, JB.
A pleasure working with both of you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. All right, folks. De La Hoya versus Mayweather has been brought to you by MGM Grand, the city of entertainment in Las Vegas. Casadora is the one with the deer on it. Tecate Beer, Cerveza with an attitude. By Rockstar Energy Drink, party like a rock star. Southwest Airlines with more nonstop flights to more places than ever before. By Boxeo, the official phone card of De La Hoya Mayweather. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. We'd like to thank the following internet partners. And so for our entire extremely hardworking crew, I'm James Brown saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada.